This happened to me a few years ago when I was still living abroad. In our small village, they say never to whistle after dark. It calls him. I thought it was just a silly superstition, so one night I whistled while walking home. Moments later, a second whistle answered from the trees ahead. Then another came from behind me. The sound grew closer from both sides until I could hear breathing in the dark. Heavy footsteps, too. I broke into a run, stumbling over the uneven ground, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't know how long I ran for, but eventually I reached my front door and fumbled with my keys. When I finally got inside and locked the door, I collapsed on the floor, shaking and out of breath. My friend, who was visiting from another country, looked at me with amusement. "You scaredy cat," she said. "It was just a little game we played when we were kids. You know, hide and seek." "I don't want to play your childish games," I huffed, still catching my breath. She shrugged and went out into the hall to use the phone. A moment later, she returned, her face pale. "What's wrong?" I asked. She whispered, "They're gone. All the villagers, they've all disappeared." I rushed to the window and looked out into the darkness. The street was empty, the houses were dark, but in the distance, I saw a faint light. I called out to my friend, "Quick, we have to get out of here." We grabbed our things and ran as fast as we could towards the light. As we stumbled along, I heard the sound of footsteps behind us, heavy breathing. I didn't dare look back. We had to keep moving. Suddenly, the footsteps stopped, and then we heard a voice. "Who's there?" My friend and I froze. "Who's there?" The voice boomed again. I don't remember what I said, but the voice seemed to grow angrier. Then we heard a crash and the sound of shattering glass. My friend and I looked at each other, terror in our eyes. We didn't dare stay to find out who had called us. We kept running until we reached the edge of town, where the road forked in two. And that's when we saw them. The entire village had gathered in the road, all the people who had been missing from their homes. They were blocking the path ahead of us, and in their midst stood a tall, imposing figure with glowing red eyes. My friend and I screamed and ran in opposite directions, each hoping to find an escape from the nightmarish scene. I don't know how long I ran for, but eventually I came to a stop, my legs aching and my lungs burning. I turned around to get my bearings. I was lost in a forest, and the only sound that could be heard was my own ragged breathing. I sat down on a nearby log, defeated and scared, knowing that I had nowhere to go and no one to turn to. I was utterly alone.